Welcome back. Spring has sprung, and with the brighter days, it means brighter ingredients to use when we're cooking at home. Here with some dishes featuring seasonal ingredients that are important to Indigenous culture is the executive chef of Feast Café Bistro, Christa Bruneau-Guenther. It's good to see you again.
Yes, likewise.
I want to start off with asking you about how you feel about seeing all of these foods like fiddleheads and wild leeks and wild garlic and ramps, being used by sort of chefs and seeing them in even my corner store. They become really, really sort of popular. But Indigenous communities, of course, have been using them for like a very long time. So how do you feel about that?
I think it's wonderful that people and chefs are starting to really embrace wild foraged foods during their seasonal availability. I think it really pays homage to the wild foods that grow naturally, and are available for us. For our Indigenous people, it provides harmony and balance when you eat seasonally, and it actually allows the land to, we give the land space and time to reproduce year after year and again and again. I think it's less of a carbon footprint as well.
That's very exciting because, as Jess mentioned, and as you mentioned, fiddleheads, I've never cooked with fiddleheads before. I really want to. So, can you convince us why we should all use more fiddleheads in a lot more of our recipes and what the significance of them is in Indigenous culture?
If you have not tried fiddleheads, you are really missing out. I think everybody at least one time has to try fiddleheads, and I promise you, you will get hooked. Fiddleheads are, the flavor is similar to asparagus, broccoli, a snap pea, and a green bean. So we're all familiar with those flavors. And among our First Nations communities, they've been harvesting and eating fiddleheads for generations. And there's an elder, and I'm going to actually read what an elder said to me. And they said, fiddleheads are the very first sign of spring, and it's a sign that winter has come to an end and spring is finally here. And an elder said, they are the tie to the earth upon which you kneel to harvest, and the vein of life from which you take sustenance. The nutritional value is also why I enjoy eating fiddleheads. They are really high in antioxidants. They are high in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, which is so amazing because you really only usually get that from fish. So to get that from a vegetable is really awesome.
Christa, I mean, I was sold before, but now I'm even more sold. The fiddleheads are going on my grocery list this weekend. I can't wait. Now, the shape is so unique, but I wonder if that shape means like they're harder to wash.
Yes, they take a little bit of extra work, but I promise you it's so worth it. So because fiddleheads are, have a coil, they're like coiled pretty tight. Often there's a little bit of like brown kind of debris on the inside of the coil. So the best thing to do is I just get a big pot of cool water. I put all the fiddleheads in there, and I just kind of, gently push them down with my hands, and you'll see all that debris come off. And then you just dump out the water, and you do that about 2 or 3 times until, you don't really see very much anymore. And then basically, they're good. And if there's a few left in your dish, it's not going to taste bad. It's totally edible. But there is one really important thing about fiddleheads. You cannot eat fiddleheads raw. So that's the one extra step that you must do. But I like to get mine in bulk, and basically you just bring a big pot of water to the boil, a little bit of salt in the water, and you boil them all for about 10 minutes. And then you have another big ice bath ready. I like to use an ice bath. You could just rinse them with cold water, but I like to have an ice bath. And after 10 minutes, drain them, throw them in that ice bath, and they'll actually completely cool down, and they'll keep that beautiful, vibrant color. And after 10 minutes is usually perfectly al dente. Throw them in a salad, put them in a soup, put them on a skewer. I like to put them on a sheet pan and freeze them, and then I just use them anytime.
I wish I knew this before because I have ruined many a fiddlehead experiment. But more importantly, let's kick things off. Let's talk about this lemon saffron wild prawn and fiddlehead soup you've made. Tell us all about it. It looks so perfect for spring.
I love this soup. I think it's very elegant and kind of sexy. I don't know, maybe it's the prawns, but it is such a gorgeous soup, very easy to make. And, it's so spring to me because there's so much lemon, and lemon goes so well with the fiddleheads, and so simple. Basically, it's just a handful of ingredients, and I just sauteed some onions and garlic and saffron. You just kind of cook that down until everything is kind of translucent. And the key to this is to make it really creamy without using any flour or any gluten is a potato, just a yellow potato. And you just saute that in there, put in some chicken stock, cook that down. I just puree it all and it becomes silky and smooth and beautiful. And then you immerse your prawns and your fiddleheads. You season a little bit of salt and pepper. And the key after that is a ton of lemon zest and lemon and cream and butter. And it is
Oh
so
my
elegant.
God. I want to make this.
Yeah, you have to. Please tell me you will. But if you make this
I
for your
will.
friends or for your family, they will absolutely love it. It feels like it's a five-star restaurant soup.
Hey, Chris, I'm super excited about this next dish because it combines Indigenous and Asian cuisine. So it's like you and I are getting married and having a baby. This is your honey lemon chicken fiddlehead buckwheat noodle salad. Woo, let's go. What's in it?
Thanks, Lainey. I absolutely love Asian flavors, and I love mixing traditional First Nation ingredients with Asian cuisine because I love it so much. It has such a perfect balance of sweet, salty, savory, tang, heat. And that's exactly what you're going to get with this dish here. And again, those fiddleheads are amazing in here because the dressing has so much citrus in it. It actually some kind of like pickles the vegetables in this buckwheat salad. So fiddleheads that have been blanched, I have actually just used these from frozen, threw them in the salad, mixed it all together. It has just some spring herbs. It's just, to me, it's so springy with the cilantro and green onions and mint and tons of lemon and citrus. And,
Oh, sounds so good.
buckwheat is, yeah, it's so good. I love buckwheat because it's gluten-free. This salad you can eat cold. It's great for a couple of days, especially if you're going on a picnic or a hike. I love taking this dish because it has some sustenance to it, and it's absolutely delicious.
So, Krista, I'm very excited about the last dish, which sounds perfect for the grill and features asparagus, which I have a feeling we're going to start seeing locally any day now. But before you talk about the dish, will you tell us a little bit about the Indigenous context around this delicious vegetable?
Yes, asparagus is originally from the lily family, and Indigenous communities have been enjoying asparagus for generations. Although it is said that asparagus never appeared until after European settlement, so it could have been something that was brought over. But also, Indigenous people have been using it medicinally to treat muscle spasms and rheumatism. So, another way that we've used it.
So, with that in mind, let's dive into your ginger maple, wild garlic, bison, and asparagus skewers. How do you make this?
I know that sounds like a lot of ingredients because I like to highlight all of them, especially the Indigenous ones like maple, ginger. Wild ginger is also Indigenous. And yeah, these are my bison skewers. You could use the fiddleheads, absolutely delicious. I love cooking with bison. It's such a lean, healthy meat, but again, it could be, could get dried out. So I like to use marinades like I did with this, with the bison. So very simple with lots of ginger and garlic and maple syrup, a little bit of soy sauce. There comes the Asian influence, a little bit of spicy shakes. I let them sit actually overnight, so they're absolutely delicious, and you're guaranteed for it to be really moist. And again, trying to highlight the spring asparagus. Actually, they skewer perfectly right from raw. Skewer it with it. I actually cook these in my cast iron pan right in the house, but great on the
Oh,
barbecue.
wow.
The asparagus cooks perfectly like that. You don't have to pre-cook them, nothing, and they're al dente, and it just goes really well. But again, you could use the fiddleheads for this as well.
Thank you so much for making our spring cooking more interesting. If you'd like to know more about these ingredients and more about these recipes, check our social media channels after the show. Happy fiddlehead cooking. We'll be right back.